9 years that he spent here, and obviously had a chance to know his father as well. But thoughts and prayers go out to his family at this time.
What has kept Nick Foles out of practice the last 3 days?
Yeah, he's had a little upper body issue that we're just monitoring day to day, just giving him some rest. Yeah, we're going to monitor it again today and tomorrow, and we're going to see where he's at.
What can you tell us about the game? You're going to play any story?
Well, we play the Steelers. Kickoff, I believe, is at 7 o'clock. We're going to try to get everybody in this football game. You know, it's one of those games where we try to play everybody. We're still evaluating, so it's great to get everybody in this game. And you know, our starters, offensively and defensively, the ones that are healthy and going to play, you know, are going to get some good work. I want to make sure that they get you know, a little bit of work in this game, and then want to see all the young guys, you know, perform, and they'll get some great opportunities.
Nick's injury related to the elbow injury from last year?
Not at all.
Doug, you got a chance to kind of see the team for the first 2 weeks of camp here. Is this team better than the one last year?
It's hard to say. We haven't played any games yet. What I'm seeing out on the practice field, though, the effort, the hard work. What I love about this team is they can, you know, we can have a scuffle, we can have a little, you know, some words back and forth, but they come together at the end and they embrace it and move on. And that's what I like to see from this team. And 2 weeks in, it's been hot these last couple of days, and they've really embraced it. And again, until we start playing games, it's hard to say.
Doug, besides the obvious of a win in a football game, what would make Thursday's game against the Steelers a success for you?
Well, number one, no major injuries, obviously, coming out of the game healthy. Number two, execution, all three phases. Sometimes when you play a lot of guys, you know, things are going to happen in football games like this, but just overall execution. You know, we got a lot of young guys that are fighting for roster spots and giving us depth at a lot of positions, and it'll be great for them to go out and perform well. And those are things that we want to see.
Doug, can you comment on your contract extension, what it means to make the team invest in you?
I really wish nobody would have brought it up, but you know, I'm definitely honored, you know, to be recognized that way. Listen, I feel truly bottom of my heart. This is everything's year to year. You know, I'm going to coach my tail off this season, and I'm just thankful to Mr. Lurie and the Eagle organization for believing in me and trusting in me, and you know, giving me the extension, and you know, just excited to go to work every single day.
Doug, how important is it that you and Howie both have contracts that are concurrent?
Well, I mean, I think it's important. I think what you're seeing around the league is GM, head coach, kind of in that have the same amount of years left, you know, and it really helps in sort of solidifying your plan, not only current plan but future plan. And when you have the same amount of time remaining, you can collaborate that way and prepare that way.
Doug, you also, Joe Douglas, you talk to him a lot too. Would you like to see him stay part of that whole thing?
Yeah, Joe. I mean, Joe's been a big part of everything we've done these last few years, and you know, he's a big part of the process. So yeah, you know, the more people we can keep, love to have everybody, and I know with hopefully another good season, that'll happen.
What do you expect the atmosphere to be like Thursday night in the first game?
You know, I would expect it to be very similar, you know, to this past weekend, Sunday night. I mean, it's exciting. It was electric. Had a great show of fans out there, and I think it's going to be that same, but you know, hopefully more people, obviously, for our first game, and come out and support the team, and just kind of sort of pick up where we left off with the NFC Championship game, you know, last fall.
Is there any difference on game day? Is this a test for you to change from Frank and John as opposed to Mike as the offensive coordinator and Press as the quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, because you know, obviously used to those two guys for the last two seasons, and you know, for them to take bigger roles, you know, Press obviously with the quarterbacks and how he's worked with them, and his involvement now on game day, and you know, Mike on the sideline still, and being more of, you know, voice in my ear that Frank was, and sometimes the voice of reason, and it'll be a great working environment, and these are all reasons for these games, obviously now with a couple new coaches and positions to work these things out.
Doug, you start to see, get a sense of getting with the patience that you showed with some of the young guys last year, like Shelton and Alphonse, it's starting to pay off.
Yeah, I think, I do see that. You know, these guys are working extremely hard. You know, obviously Shelton's coming back, and and Pump's been working hard this training camp, and you're just seeing the growth in these guys. You know, of course, Shelton played a little bit last fall as a special teamer, and I just think that confidence is shown in both those players. And you know, that's what it's about when you draft young players, investing time. It's going to take a couple years, you know, 2, 3, maybe 4 years to really fully see their talent and their how they grow with the offense. And excited for these games and really looking for some big things out of both those players.
In the preseason, it's about Carson being cleared for contact. Safe to assume that he's not going to play this week.
You know what assume means, right?
Is Carson going to play this week?
You know, he obviously hasn't taken 11-on-11. We're still still watching his progress and monitoring that. And you know, if he's not in practice, then, you know, you can figure it out.
How is anything different in your guys' plan for him next week?
Probably not. Probably keep going the way we're going. He's progressing extremely well. He's getting stronger every single day. The 7-on-7 reps that he's getting are valuable reps. It's all part of the process.
Doug, Jeffrey spoke very highly about the collaborative nature between you, Howie, and other decision makers in the organization. How would you assess your relationship with Howie Roseman over the past couple of years?
We've gotten extremely close, more so than a business relationship, obviously. You know, a friend of mine. You know, in this business, we spend a lot of time together, coaches, players, and personnel staff, and so for he and I to be attached like we are, we got to figure out how to get along, and it's been a real treat for me, obviously, to get to know he and his family, Mindy and the kids, and I'm excited to work with him now the next few years, and I know he's excited as well. And listen, as long as we continue to collaborate, you know, stay in our lanes and keep doing our jobs, you know, I think good things are going to happen.
In the preseason last year, you took a little different approach. The starters didn't play as many reps as they did the year before, and you sat some veteran players. Is that the plan this year as well?
When did I do that? Just in the third game?
Overall, if you look at the total amount of snaps.
Probably the third game, because we scrimmaged against Miami up here last year, and so that took a little bit of the reps away from the starters. You know, if I can get a game full of snaps, 65, 70 plays within 3 games or so, that's good work. You know, that's good solid work with the starters, and still got to maintain an edge, obviously. It's harder though. It's harder in a preseason game because they know they're only going to play X amount of plays and then they're coming out, so not a full game yet. But we got to try to maintain that edge going into the Atlanta game.
Yeah, the big emphasis last year was about week 1. Throughout the preseason, you kept mentioning week 1, and you did the same thing to them. Are you doing that this year? Is the emphasis?
I think you have to. I think you have to maintain. It's part of the edge, And the thing is, our week 1 rolls pretty fast. I mean, we're playing a game on Thursday preseason and home game opening day 7 days later. So I got to keep talking to them as if we're preparing this week for that game, and that's all part of their mindset.
You didn't have, obviously, Nate Sudfeld all preseason last year, and Joe Callahan's pretty new and everything. Like, for those guys on Thursday night especially, like, how valuable will it be considering, I mean, those guys will probably get most, if not all, the snaps on Thursday.
Well, yeah, it's extremely valuable. We saw Nate in the Dallas game at the end of the year and thought he played well there, and those are things that you hope he can carry over into the preseason this year. And I've been in that role before as a backup, where this is really our regular season. This is where we get to play and shine and perform. And so I encourage both those guys to embrace the opportunity for however long they're in there, and it really will go to show exactly where they are with this team, what they know is with the offense, and just the growth process of just learning everything that we're about.
Doug, you didn't hit this week. Is that a change in your schedule? Did you ease off a little bit?
No, well, I was going to go pads today, but the weather's been in the 90s and it's been hot, and these guys have been working extremely hard, and we're a little over 48 hours, obviously, to game time. So just wanted to pull back a little bit these last couple of days. We had a hard workout in the stadium, and then just good work these last couple of days, and just getting them as fresh as I can for Thursday.
Carson's arm looks pretty live and accurate, despite the fact that he's getting yanked on and off the field. What have you been telling him? What have you been doing with him to keep his mind and body fresh?
It's a little bit of a challenge, and I say that because he's engaged for about 7, 8, 9, 10 plays, and then he doesn't get the 11-on-11 work. So for us, it's about attacking each period that he's in, whether it's the individual work or these 7-on-7s, and just detailing the work. He has to approach it like it's game week, and I just keep talking to him that way. Press Taylor keeps talking to him that way. Mike Groh keeps talking to him that way. We're not going to let anything slide, from his decision-making to accuracy of throws, feeling the pocket, even though it's 7-on-7, timing, rhythm, all of that part of the game. So we just keep talking to him and putting him in those situations. Him sliding?
How much slide have you seen in his decision-making, or is that
None. He's a guy that really challenges himself. He's hard on himself. 7-on-7 obviously is not full team reps, so it's a little more controlled, and yet at the same time I want to make sure he's 100% accurate, 100% with his decision making, and that's what he showed so far.
In that King interview you did, you used the word hesitant.
Yes. Listen, I've slept since then.
Okay. But
thanks, guys.
Nick, what's keeping you out of practice?
Muscle spasms right here. So nothing crazy. I know y'all are like wanting to go every which direction. It's gonna be fine. Keep going. Next question. Like trap neck area. So it's not a big deal. Once again, we're just being smart.
That's something that you had earlier in the offseason?
Huh?
Did you have something similar to that earlier in the offseason?
You know, sometimes with throwers, like you just throw so much, like some things get aggravated. So this is a time of year where you just try to be smart. Do it. Like I'm in the training room a lot. We're getting a good regimen going on. Once again, like I want to be out there every single day, but right now we're just focused on getting this thing healthy. Be back out there as soon as I can, and look forward to when I can be back out there. So hopefully really soon.
Are you looking to play on Thursday night, or is that?
We're still talking about it day to day. We're worrying about the training room right now. Going through the rehab protocol. So we'll see. We never rule anything out, but at the end of the day, we'll see what happens.
Do you know how it happened, or does it just happen with the?
I don't really know what happened. It just one of those things that just sort of happened one day, and I noticed it was uncomfortable. So we talked about it, and we decided that this was the best thing after doing a couple of tests, just to be smart. That's the big thing, is we're being smart right now during this time of year. And, we're going to do everything we can. We're going to be smart. We're going to continue this rehab protocol. And then, you get smarter as you go through this stuff. So, be back out there soon.
One of those things, too, like given Carson's, process that he has to go through to get back to week one, like, we got to make sure that you're healthy too.
Well, I think with anyone, yeah, you just make sure you're healthy this time of year. Like, make sure you're ready to roll. You don't want to aggravate something like bad. I mean, you know, we're being really smart right now. I mean, that's all. I mean, I'm gonna say we're being smart every time. So. I mean.
Nick, you're a veteran player, obviously been through the preseason a lot. Do you have a comfort level as far as how much you need to play, or is it just about health more than anything else?
Yeah, I mean, you want to be out there and playing with your guys. Like, you know, the preseason's valuable. It's just getting back in the stadium, going through the game day routine, the rhythm of game day, being in the locker room. Like, you're going to get those nerves that we all get as players. And then the butterflies and going out there for the first play, you know, you want to play. Last preseason, I didn't get a chance to play, but fortunately, I played a lot of football, so you just sort of lean on that. Football's such a rhythm game. That's where it takes a little bit of time. Like, it took me a little bit of time when I started playing at the end of the year to get that rhythm back. But that's why the preseason's great. That's why training camp's great. That's why every single rep is so valuable. But I don't have like a target amount of playing. I just really want to be back on the practice field, healthy, ready to roll.
What have you seen? It's hot out. What's your usual preparation on a hot day like this?
Preparation. Hydration before practice is key. You know, hydration during practice, you know, sipping on water, key. You know, you're going to get loose pretty quickly out here. So just trying to be smart, not trying to overdo everything. It really tests you, though. I mean, the heat's different. I mean, we're going to play in some hot games, so this is great. You know, this is great to be out here in this humid, hot weather, just stepping in the huddle. I know as practices go on, as guys, you know, you start sweating a lot of fluids are drained. Like, sometimes it gets a little harder to focus, harder to think. So that's why these practices are great for us, because, you know, we're being competitive, we're competing every single play, you know, and I think you just, when you watch practice, you see a lot of that, you see a lot of great work.
Offensively, who do you think, among the young guys, who do you think fans will notice Thursday night?
Thursday night. You know, I think, you know, Dallas had a great camp. I think just from the tight end position, I think he's a really good player that's coming along every single day. You know, he's going to keep working every single day. He's obviously young, but he's got a lot of great coaches and players around to help him. So I think he'd be a guy that, you know, will do well. I think, you know, another guy would be like Rashard Davis. I think he's, you know, from a guy that's undrafted, you know, coming in here in his second year. I think he's a very talented player, can do a lot of different things. When the ball's in his hand, he's very dynamic, and a lot of guys might not necessarily, you know much about him, but I think he's a guy that can, you know, do some really special things. So I'm excited to see those guys play.
It's pretty obvious that the team knows you and knows Carson. What can they learn about Nate during, I guess, Thursday and the next four?
Yeah, these are great opportunities for you know, Nate and Joe to go out there and play. You know, if I'm not able to play, and you know, I think that anytime you get reps with the ones where you sort of get thrust into a position you're not really expected, that's the life of a backup quarterback. Like, when you're in that situation, I think Nate has the potential and ability to be a starter in this league. I think he's a guy that, since he's gotten here, he continues to get better, he continues to excel, he continues to just grow every single day. So I expect him to, you know, start in this league. But I think right now is a valuable time where he's, you know, the other day in practice, you know, stepping in, you know, with the ones. I mean, that's real. Like, that's what you have to do. That's what I had to do last year, where you're coming off the bench in a game, you know, into the third quarter, and you got to win it. That's what's tough about being a backup, where, you know, when you're a starter, you're getting all the reps, you're prepared, you're mentally prepared, you have the rhythm with all the guys. Well, you got to catch that rhythm, and you have to catch it fast. So all these practices, these reps, the preseason, extremely valuable for Nate and Joe. And I think that, as you've seen the last couple of days, they've, you know, it's not been too big for them, but they're starting to settle down, because it is different when you're repping with guys that you're not used to. So I think they've excelled every single day.
Nick, does it feel like game week? Lane Johnson was saying, like, in the meeting rooms, it feels like the Super Bowl week.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're working every single day. I mean, we're getting ready to play on Thursday. Obviously, it's training camp, so it's a little bit it's a different rhythm. Usually, a lot of teams use the third week as like the rhythm week of a regular season game, but yeah, I mean, anytime you turn the lights on, I don't care what game. I mean, you're playing a game. Like, you're going out there and you're actually, like, on the field running plays. People are watching. You got the officials. Everything's going on. I mean, you get the butterflies. You start feeling that feeling. So, yeah, absolutely, it's game week.
Doug talked about getting some game work in with Mike and Press and their new roles and how important that is. How comfortable are you at this point with them now that you're several weeks into training camp adjusting to their new roles?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really comfortable with them. And we had all the TAs. I've known Press for, you know, this is going on 6 years for us. You know, Coach Groh was here last year. He was there a few weeks when I was in LA and Oxnard, so I got to meet him a little bit then before that whole thing. And great personalities. Like we're in the meeting rooms with them every single day, so that's where you really bond because they were with the receivers last year. So this training camp's been great for us. They're great coaches, and I think just from a relationship perspective, it's grown, and then we're getting an idea like how they coach, what they do. Because I mean, it's different than Frank and Flip. Like it's but they're still great coaches, so we're enjoying it, and it's going to be a fun journey with them.
Take a couple more questions.
One is a month away, or just under a month away. Hypothetically, if this were the regular season and for whatever reason you were in the starter's role, what would be the approach to this soreness? Would it be something that you would play through?
That's once again, it's a hypothetical situation, so we will address. I'll address that if that ever comes to be. So we're gonna. Right now, we're in training camp. We're getting ready for this preseason game. As a football player, I will say this: as an athlete, you're always gonna have nicks and bruises and different things going on that you play through. That's part of being an athlete. There's also a time for everything. So you try to. This is a time where you want to be smart. I want to be out there and play, but I also know like what's best for the team. Will me getting to be 100%. So that's sort of how I look at it.
Nick, you mentioned that it is different for you now having Press and Mike in there, and then Frank and Flip. How is it different?
Just different personalities. I think that you're around each other so much. You're different people, so you're getting to build that relationship that I was with Flip and Frank every single day in a meeting. Why Mike and Press were downstairs with the receivers, so we didn't have that time together. So you're really just getting to know each other more. And you've heard me talk a lot about football's special because of the relationships, teammates and coaches alike. That's where you see the bond. Like it's not just players. Like you have to actually like enjoy being around your coach and trust it. And I think you saw that when you get the mic'd up stuff from last year when we're talking to coaches. I used the Philly special play as a great example. Doug and I have a lot of trust in each other. We've known each other for a long time to where that conversation, if you don't know each other, probably doesn't go very well. But because we know each other, we're like, let's do it. And I'd use that as an example because that's so important to be a winning team. It's not just players, it's everyone in this building getting along, knowing each other. So all this is just us having an opportunity every single day to be in the film room, to learn from them, for them to learn from us, and just grow from that.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Playing week 1 or not?
We'll see. I mean, you know the goal. Same thing. I mean, probably just put what I said the last couple times on repeat right now.
Hey, Carson, what was your reaction to, I guess, stepping back, not being in 11s anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of touched on it last time. It's frustrating. I mean, obviously, getting the chance to get out there and everything. I mean, it felt great. You know, it was fun to be out there. But again, just trusting what the doctors are saying, and without a doubt, it's tough to just sit there and watch. I mean, I did it all last offseason. Now, kind of getting your feet wet, but kind of going in and out. It's not what I'd like, but it's I'm making the most of it as we go here.
As a follow-up to that, though, the difference between this time and last time is last time, at least for us, it seemed more like a day-to-day thing. Now Doug has made it sound like it's indefinite until you're cleared for contact. So is this how you anticipate these next few weeks being until you're cleared?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think for next week it's going to be the same type of routine, and then kind of keep talking with the docs, coaches, and then kind of make a plan as we go. But again, just trusting what they say.
Carson, in the team drills that you have done, how do you think you played, and what are some things maybe you feel like you still want to work on in the rest of camp?
Yeah, I mean, the full team drills obviously were just those couple days, 7-on-7 that I've been able to do for a while. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, and I kind of think back to the last couple training camps, and it really never is. It never is, and you got a bunch of new guys in new spots, and you're not scheming things for your defense. So some days it looks really ugly out there, but then we come back, we're like, all right, well, we'll get all that cleaned up. And so when I'm out there, it's not perfect, but I know physically I feel really good.
Carson, Nick just talked about football being a rhythm game. How is it difficult for you to get a couple reps on 7-on-7s? Then you got to go off to the side and start again, and it kind of breaks everything up.
I mean, it can be a challenge. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, it can be definitely a rhythm game. I mean, you kind of get into a groove and everything, but that's the challenge I have right now. And it's kind of like being on the sideline for a long period of time in a game, a long drive from another team, something like that. And sometimes it's just tough to find that rhythm, and right now I just got to make the most of it.
Carson, the last couple of days, the team announced the extension of Doug. Obviously, there's a lot of talk of you two, and hopefully long term, and being connected to one another. Just curious your reaction to it, and how he's influenced.
Yeah, well, I went up to him right away when I heard the news. I said, I can't wait to be a free agent. Then I was kidding, obviously. So, but no, I'm stoked. I'm stoked for Doug, and just he deserves it. He deserves it. Him and Howie both. But coming in with Doug at the same time, and just seeing him as a leader, and how obviously winning the Super Bowl, and now seeing him now, he hasn't changed. He hasn't changed, and that's what I love about him. He's still the same guy. So I'm excited for, God willing, a long future with him.
Last week you talked about them wanting to keep you in a controlled environment. So what do you need to show the doctors, Doug, decision makers to get back into 11-on-11s? What do they need to see?
I mean, I think I've shown what I need to show them. I think now it's just kind of a timetable. Docs feeling comfortable with things, and that's ultimately their call.
Carson, the run game from 2016 to 17, it seemed like you had added a lot of volume and variety. How key was that just during last year's run?
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. Obviously, our run game and mixing it up with different backs all last year was huge for us, and we look forward to that being a big part of what we do this year. Obviously, the RPO game has kind of been well documented and how we mix that in, and that's going to stay a big part of what we do. And we feel we have the right guys to do that, the right receivers, but then the O-line. I mean, we can just ride those guys, and they open up space, and those backs get to enjoy it.
Watching team drills today, you guys were down your top 2 quarterbacks, top 3 receivers. How do you get that continuity you need when there's so much mixing and matching right now?
Yeah, I mean, early in camp, that's definitely can be tough. This time of year, it definitely can be tough to find that groove. I mean, sometimes that's when the off-season, the OTAs, the summer workouts, whatever it may be, come into play, and right now it's just kind of what we've been thrown. It's kind of the way it is, and so you got to try, once everyone is back out there, to get extra work on the side and just keep growing that chemistry. But without a doubt, it can be tough this time of year.
Carson, you guys were so good in the red zone last year. Now with Dallas Goedert, it looked like he's going to be a guy you're really going to be able to lean on down there and be effective also.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we still have a lot of our big red zone weapons from last year, the guys that, Ertz, Alshon, Nelson, and those guys, and now adding a guy like Dallas, adding a guy like Richard Rodgers down there, just big bodies that are big possession guys. I think that'll make us tough to defend.
Carson, how important is it for you to play a preseason game to kind of, get over that mental barrier with the knee, and then physically as well, and get in rhythm and that kind of thing?
I don't think it's a big hurdle for me. I think, again, would I love to be out there on Thursday? Absolutely. I'd love to play every day. But for me personally, I think I'll be fine if I don't get out there for preseason.
What do you and Nick, if you can't go What are you guys looking at Thursday night when you're watching the game from the sideline and helping out with the other two?
I mean, obviously we're going to help out the quarterbacks, but the thing I like to do is just watch the younger guys. Finally get a chance to go live. A lot of the running backs, especially, you don't get to see them live in drills out here very often. So I'm just seeing how they react in those situations. I think it's just always fun to see what they can do.
Carson, the velocity on your throws looks like it's there, and obviously you've worked with quarterback coaches during the offseason. How do you think your velocity compares, this offseason with previous training camps?
I think it's very similar. I'm not out there with a radar gun or anything, but I feel really good mechanically and everything. I feel very good. Arm feels strong, and I feel like, again, I can make all the throws and everything. So I don't feel like I've lost a step with that because of the knee.
Carson, every practice we come out here, it's packed with fans. The practice the other night, 40,000. What do you expect on Thursday, and what has it been like from where you sit when fans interact with you about coming on?
Yeah, I mean, the fan support's been unbelievable. I mean, I've said that since I got here, but now coming off a Super Bowl run last year, it's another level. Going over there the other night was incredible. It was, I think, 35,000 or whatever it was, but I mean, a lot of you guys were probably there. It was not quiet at all. Borderline annoying at times, trying to get some plays in. Guys were like, do we need silent count out here? But we love it. I mean, we love it. The fans are so passionate, and I'm sure Thursday night's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere.
What should fans expect to see from Nate Sudfeld?
From Nate, I mean, it'll be big for him, obviously, not being here last preseason and getting those reps and getting late season last year against Dallas. But Nate's solid. Nate's great. He plays a lot like Nick and I, and we all kind of think similarly. And so Nate he can really kind of do a little bit of everything, and I think he's sneaky, athletic too, and can make some plays with his feet. So I'm excited to see him live again and really get a chance to start that game.
If I could follow up with that, Joe Callahan's another guy who'll probably play a lot on Thursday. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, Joe looks great. He's kind of a little bit of a gunslinger out there, kind of has that mentality a little bit, but he's fun to watch, and he doesn't get rattled. I mean, he doesn't get rattled by mistakes from receivers, mistakes from the line, from himself, whatever. He just keeps going, keeps throwing it, and so that gunslinger mentality I see in Joe, it'll be fun to watch.
Carson, what has Doug told you about his time as a high school coach and kind of stories from that and how it's shaped him, and maybe been the foundation of what he is now?
I'd love to tell you that I've heard all about it, but I don't think I've heard too much about it. I've talked more about his playing days and everything, and just kind of relating those things, but not a ton about his high school coaching.
Two more questions. What's the difference in your prep in heat versus cold? You're a North Dakota guy, so today's scorching hot. What's the difference?
I mean, I try and prep the same. You just sweat a lot more. And obviously I like it a little bit more cool, but you just get through it. You'll be good.
You had mentioned the young guys who you're excited to see for the first time in preseason. Do you have anyone specifically that stands out to you?
I think it's just a culmination of everybody. Really, a lot of the running backs you see out here. We got a handful of backs. I'm excited to see what they can do. Really, every one of them. Receiver-wise, we got a couple of young guys there. Dallas, I'm excited to see him in a live action as well. And we just have a handful of guys both sides of the ball that I think we're all just excited to see how they react.
Thanks, Carson.
Thanks, guys.